People who say Anthony Joshua has never faced anyone are terribly misinformed and unbearably naive. Firstly, Anthony Joshua has fought for a world title in his 16th fight against Charles Martin and won with relative ease, but Martin was a limited opponent, but at the time it wasn't known what he was capable of, how good he was, and what he could do to Joshua, and it was considered quite a big risk for the inexperienced Joshua very early in his career. It was a bold risk, but it did pay off. And I know that Martin was a limited opponent and Joshua beat him pretty easily. Martin, as soon as he got really hit, he didn't want no more of that. He then went on to face Dominic Breazeale in his first defence of the IBF title. Dominic Breazeale was undefeated at the time, and Joshua, we didn't know at the time, but boxed Dominic Breazeale with glandular fever, yet he still won every minute of every round and stopped Dominic Breazeale in the 7th round. Dominic Breazeale is undefeated since the Joshua fight and has worked his way into #1 position in the WBC rankings, and will soon be mandated to fight the WBC champion, whether that be Deontay Wilder at that point or Tyson Fury, if their rematch goes ahead. I believe it will be Tyson Fury. After facing Breazeale, he faced Molina, who is obviously a limited opponent also. He wasn't really that good, but Joshua took him out there in 3 rounds. It took Wilder, 9 I think it was? So he took Molina out there quite quickly, and after that fight it was announced that he was going to face Vladimir Klitschko in a unification fight in Wembley in front of 90,000 people. Before the Vladimir Klitschko fight, there was a lot of controversy over whether it was too soon for Joshua, and that Joshua was going to get stopped by Vladimir Klitschko. There were doubters, but as soon as the fight was over and Anthony Joshua had won, they said, oh, he played life and death with an old man, but Vladimir Klitschko was on his toes for the whole fight, and that was probably one of his best performances of recent years against Joshua. He was brilliant in that fight, but yet Joshua found a way to win. And after the fight, people were saying that Vladimir Klitschko was finished and he was an old man. Even though, as I said, Vladimir Klitschko was in great shape and put in one of his best performances of recent years. So Anthony Joshua had beat the future legend in his 19th fight and had a unification fight. He then held the IBF and WBA world titles, which is no mean feat considering where all of the other champions of the division and challengers were at that time in their career. 19 fights and 19 wins and 19 knockouts, 2 world titles. After the Klitschko fight, he was mandated to fight Kubrat Pulev, who had an injury and was replaced by Carlos Takam, and Joshua won that fight, stopping Takam in the 10th round. There was some controversy over the stoppage, but Takam was never going to win that fight. But then his second unification was made against Joseph Parker. Anthony Joshua outpointed Joseph Parker over the full 12 rounds, Anthony Joshua's first time going the full distance. Yet he beat Joseph Parker with relative ease and kept him at range with the jab and made Joseph Parker miss, meaning Anthony Joshua had become WBO, IBF and WBA world champion. 2 unification fights in only 21 fights. After beating Joseph Parker, Anthony Joshua went in with Alexander Povetkin, his WBA mandatory. The fight was reasonably scrappy to begin with, but Anthony Joshua soon got into a rhythm, started winning rounds and then caught Alexander Povetkin, and Alexander Povetkin could not find a way back from there. Once he was hurt, that was it. Anthony Joshua finished him off in great fashion, handing Povetkin his only 2nd professional defeat and his first knockout defeat. Vladimir Klitschko managed to knock him down but couldn't finish him off. Yet Joshua was just too strong, too powerful for Povetkin, and once he caught him, that was it. So Anthony Joshua has fought back-to-back great fighters. Obviously there are a few in there, maybe Dominic Breazeale, Molina, Carlos Takam. They're not brilliant opponents, but still, you look at Vladimir Klitschko, Joseph Parker and Alexander Povetkin, those are great fighters. And I mean, 3 great names on his record, and he's only had 22 fights. So people saying he's never fought anyone, I mean, he's had 22 fights and he's fought all of those guys, 2 unification fights, and he's fought the legend Vladimir Klitschko. Who has Wilder fought? Ortiz, which he was losing. Ortiz got tired and silly and made mistakes that allowed Wilder back in. Obviously you have Tyson Fury. Yes, he has beat the legend, so fair enough to Tyson Fury. But I just don't understand how you can say Anthony Joshua has never faced anyone. He's had 2 unification fights and he's only had 22 fights. Yet if you look at his resume compared to Deontay Wilder, where was Deontay Wilder after 22 fights? Nowhere near even challenging for a world title. He was fighting journeymen. So for Wilder fans to say that Anthony Joshua has not faced anyone, they're just naive and hypocritical, because Anthony Joshua has faced a greater caliber of opponents than Wilder. The best name on Wilder's record is Tyson Fury, and he couldn't beat Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury won that fight. Everyone seems to think so. I believe Tyson Fury won that fight. He just didn't get the decision. He got robbed. So Tyson Fury is really the WBC world champion. Deontay Wilder is just a paper champion. But anyway guys, please let me know what you think. Please drop your thoughts in the comments below. Please like the video and subscribe for more content. Thank you guys.